Welcome, everybody, to Bearcat Insider. This is the basketball show number 2. I don't want to say week 2 because it's kind of broken up.
Well,
We've extended into more.
We went one game further than normal because we're about to have our mandated UIL break.
Correct.
And so we figured, let's just wait. And instead of having kind of the S&S game as just dangling out there in the wind, we could group it with the other 2 games from last week, and it would work out.
Well, for those new listeners, let me start by saying I'm Chance Kirby, and you are everybody's favorite assistant coach, Travis Marsh. And before we get any further, if you're listening on YouTube, hit the subscribe button right now. It really helps us out, or whatever podcast you are choosing to hear it through. Subscribe. Be a big help. So anyway, like I said, we had 3 games. We're going to start in Bells, where I believe it went to quadruple overtime.
It was quadruple overtime.
Is that the way it always works? I know when you're out of gas, you can never find a gas station. They're everywhere when you have a full tank.
Yeah.
Do quadruple overtimes always happen at the furthest point from home?
They happen at the most inconvenient place, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we were banking on kind of an early night at Bells, and we didn't get it.
Yeah. It was switched to early in the morning.
It was really cold that night.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and so I went out in between the third and fourth quarters while Coach Price was talking to the team and getting them all lined out, and I started both of the buses so they would be warm at the end of the fourth quarter whenever we were to get on them. They ran for 1 quarter and 4 overtime periods. They were really warm.
Apologies to the accountant at PPISD.
Yeah, well,
the fuel account.
Yeah, we killed some gas, but it's all right. They were, like I said, they were extremely warm.
Oh, I do want to point out, too, it is Christmas holidays.
Yes. School
is out. If you hear that background noise,
that's the Martians.
Not only are you an assistant coach and podcaster today, but you're a
father of 4.
Exactly.
And Malaya is she's yelling at Matthew about
something. As long as we can keep them yelling and laughing, we're okay.
That's fine. But, so she might make an appearance. I'm sure she'll run in here at some point. And so my apologies when she does. As a true professional, I'm just going to keep it rolling.
Just keep on podcasting.
That's it. But so 3 games, we went 2-1. The first game is the Bells game, which we did lose in quadruple overtime, but the 2 wins were district ball games. So we're 4-2 on the year, 3-1 on the week, 2-0 in district. So we're starting off district play the way that we wanted to, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth. So we went over to Bells, lost 61-59. No, I'm sorry, I misreported that score. It was 61-60. Because
you robbed us a point.
Ish was shooting the tying free throw with 1.7 seconds left, and he missed.
Uh-oh.
So that's how we were 1 point short, not 2 points short. So I do apologize. It was 61-64 overtime loss. Now, I did just say that Ish missed the last free throw with 1.7 seconds left to tie. He was our leading scorer. He scored 12 points, and then Rowdy Robinson put in 10. Aiden Cox put in 9 points. But Aiden dominated the boards. He had 15 rebounds.
Wow. And
the other set of the Twin Towers there, Jay Cox, he was 12 rebounds. Then Ish had 7. And then Aiden comes back around and pulls off the trifecta. And he was the defensive leader with 3 steals and 1 block. And here's our first appearance. All right. Come here, baby.
Mama hit me with when I told him he's not my big brother.
Oh, well, he's your big brother, so don't tell him that.
Not. He's my little brother.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm the big sister.
Okay, you tell him you're pretending, okay? All right, so we had a little commotion about who's the big brother and who's the little sister, but that's okay.
For the record, she is wrong. She's the little sister.
She is,
for those of you that don't know.
She is definitely wrong. But, no, so Aiden pulled off the trifecta, and he was on all 3 leaderboards. He played a great game. In the second overtime, when it was 42-42, as time was winding down, their best player, they set a pick for him. He goes around the pick, and he's going to the basket. Looks like he has a clear line to the layup. And Aiden slapped that thing off the backboard, and he kept us in it. So Aiden, I was very, very impressed with him. Rowdy Robinson, the freshman sensation, as we have dubbed him, hit a big 3 in the third overtime to keep us alive. And then I think by the fourth overtime, we were just ready for it to end, one way or the other. I think we wanted to win, but when Ish missed that free throw, it was like, okay, we're either going to get the rebound and go up and win, or we're just going home. But
we can't end in a tie.
Yes, it's some way this is coming to an end. So
how was the crowd? What are their
the
Rona policies over there? Was it a full gym? Or?
It was a full gym, and their student section was right behind us, and they were comical. They were pretty funny.
It always makes it more fun with the good student section.
At one point, I turned around and gave them a thumbs up because I was like, "That was a good one. You really took it to us there." But they were good, and so it was good. That was about as good of a ball game going into district as you could ask for, because we got to play a ton of minutes. We got to work on a lot of things, and Bells was a good not football team. We're the basketball show now. Bells was a good basketball team. They were 5-0 going into the game. They left the game 6-0. They were solid. They did some things on defense that are things that we're going to see going into district. They set in a 2-3 zone. That's similar to what we're going to get from what we got from SNS, what we're going to get from Callisburg, and some of those other teams are going to give us a 2-3 zone. So it was a good game. Now, before we go on to Ponder in our first district ball game, let's get a quick word from our sponsors.
There is no better source for local news than the Pilot Point Post-Signal. Pilot Point Post-Signal has been covering Pilot Point since 1878, providing award-winning top-notch coverage of Pilot Point and the Pilot Point Bearcats. You can start your subscription today by going to postsignal.com and signing up for their special, which is 2 months free of the digital and print copy, or you can call their phone number at 940-686-2169. The Pilot Point Post-Signal, the best source for local news.
Cat fans, one thing that I love about walking into the field house is looking at all the old pictures that you have from years past and being able to relive the history of those great teams and great players. And I love walking through with my sons and showing them a picture and saying, man, look at that guy, and telling them a story about a great play. And you can have the same opportunity to do that with your family by using Ashley Marsh Photography to capture your family's great memories. Seeing those pictures of your family will allow you to talk to your kids or your grandkids and tell great stories about things that you've done or things that you've seen or just funny memories that you might have. So if you ever want to document your family's history, please contact Ashley Marsh Photography. You can find her on Facebook, on Instagram using Ashley Marsh Photography, as well as her website, ashleymarshphotography.com.
All right, well, big thank you to those sponsors. Now, our second game that we're going to talk about is a win over Ponder, 49-42 overtime win. It was at home, which means that the eyes of Chance Kirby were upon us.
I watched the whole game looking through the camera lens, yes.
So you tell me, what'd you think?
Well, my first question, and no offense,
That's
but
fine.
as you know, when Ricky Bobby says that, that's exactly what's probably coming.
Yeah.
The first question I had, and maybe others on Facebook and that saw the score, is that when we think of Ponder, is that Ponder? And the reason I'm trying to judge how good we are, does that mean as much as I think it does?
Ponder is one of the favorites in the district.
Okay, so it is Ponder.
Now, Callisburg has arguably the best player in the district. That guy.
I remember him from last year.
That will shoot it from half court and make it a whole bunch.
Yes.
But Ponder is kind of believed to have the most well-rounded team. And so I don't know. I think it's a combination of we played really well. We still had too many turnovers, but for the most part, we played well. And then I don't think their coach was very pleased with the way that they played.
No, he seemed disappointed, and he also refused to let it go there at the end. I think we had about 3 timeouts too many, in my opinion. I'm not a basketball genius, but when there's like 2 seconds left and you're down by 5, let it go.
I mean, you don't get free tacos for them if you keep them.
Yeah.
But then your fans can say, well, you didn't call your timeouts. So thank you for covering your your
You're
mouth
welcome.
on that. You're not a super seeder. That's
right.
That's good. But now the biggest thing is we go into the game, and it was back and forth all game. I don't know that anybody ever really got away from the other person.
No, it was a really good game.
And then we get to the end, and it was 42-42. And we go into overtime, and they don't score a point in overtime. And so we scored 7, which means we're the winners. And so
Second overtime game in a row.
I'm glad we got away from that.
Yeah.
At S&S, it'd have been a big problem if S&S took us to overtime.
And back to Ponder, that was the first district game, so
Yeah.
that's
Well,
good.
And one that I think the expectation was probably that we were going to lose. I think that's what the popular train of thought would have been.
That's why I was asking about Ponder. It's just if you hear you're playing Peaster, Ponder, or Crumb,
Yeah.
the assumption is things aren't going to go well.
And so stealing one from them is big to start district. That was one that we, by stealing, we put ourselves in a good position. 1-0, we're tied for first in district. So going down to the stats, Avery was our leading scorer. He had 19 points. Ish was second with 12 points. Aiden, 8 points. Aiden again led the team in rebounds with 10, and then Avery, Ish, and Cade Carter, 5 rebounds apiece. Hold on just a second.
Mama's being mean to me.
What's he doing?
He's calling me the vampire.
Oh, no.
And I bited him.
Oh, well, you bit him and he called you a vampire? All right, tell him to turn on Netflix.
No.
YouTube.
No. YouTube.
Go.
YouTube.
All right, and then leading the way defensively, Avery had 3 steals and Jay had 2 steals. We didn't have any blocks on the game, but I thought we played pretty well in the paint. Ponder really didn't push the issue down low. They were very much on a dribble and drive type team. It worked out to their advantage at times, but I thought that Coach Price had a great game plan. I thought he made good adjustments in game to the point where, that's a good game. It's good output. Not good scoring output. I think we would desire more than 42 points in regulation, but to limit them to 42, I think that's going to be something that you're going to kind of come to expect from the Cats, is that I think we can be really good defensively, and then that tends to create offense in its own sense, and we'll talk about that a little bit after this commercial break when we get to the S&S game.
Located in Pilot Point, Texas, the Chandler family has been making custom cabinets for over 40 years. As a team, Chandler Cabinets is committed to designing and building the perfect cabinets for you. They will make the process comfortable and stress-free by personally guaranteeing a superior product built on the standard of superior craftsmanship and immaculate customer satisfaction. From concept to completion, perfect form and function. Chandler Cabinets is an award-winning company with a reputation for consistent innovation at the highest level of design. You can find more information on Chandler Cabinets at chandlercabinets.net or on their Facebook page, Chandler Cabinets. Chandler Cabinets, 40 years of excellence.
Hi, I'm Greg Pelzel. Here at Pelzel Printing, we do custom embroidery, custom screen printing, and promotional product. You can reach Greg Pelzel at 940-453-5443. Go Bearcats.
All right, now we're back from that break. I do have 2 quick questions comments about the Ponder game. One, for those of you that are new listening, we are broadcasting on YouTube every home game, but we're only broadcasting it while a game is in play. You can't go find it and after the game until after the season has concluded. And unless you really keep up with the schedule, the only way you're going to know otherwise that when those games are broadcasting is subscribe to our YouTube channel, because then you'll receive a notification when we go live. I can't remember when the games are, and I'm supposed to be there, so easiest way to keep up with that is to just subscribe.
Yep.
And then the second note about the Ponder game, do you think that coach looks like anybody in the movie business? Because I found a separated at birth, in my opinion, of who that guy is.
I'm anxious to hear it.
But I don't know how to say his last name, but you may. How do you say Nick's last name?
I think it's Kroll.
Yes. Well, those of you that didn't see the game and haven't met the guy, if you want to know what the Ponder head coach looks like, I think I found his twin brother.
Okay.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking when I was watching the game. Like, my gosh, this guy looks like the dude from the league.
Yeah, and the Ponder coach, Coach Rose, I'm sure he would love to hear this. He's a phenomenal guy. He's awesome. He's easy to get along with. He's an exceptional
I hope he
basketball
does.
coach.
I like Nick. He's also in What We Do in the Shadows, but it's a funny guy.
Yeah, no, but Coach Rose is awesome, so it's only fitting that he has an awesome doppelganger in Hollywood.
There you go, because we found him.
Because we found him.
Sorry,
So,
moving on to SNS.
shout out Coach Rose and Nick Kroll.
Yeah, there you go.
Nick Kroll sponsorship opportunities are available.
They are available. Still
If-
need a title sponsor.
We do, and we'll get to we do have a Player of the Week sponsor, which I'm excited about.
I am too.
So
That's the closer, though.
yes, that is.
Don't bring him in yet.
We digress. So SNS game 3 of our 3-game slate here is a 66-53 win. It was at SNS on Monday. Early afternoon. It was like noon.
It was around 12, and I actually tried to watch it. They tried to stream it,
Yeah.
and I tried to watch it.
Unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So you're saying that PilotPointBearcats.com does a exceptional job of bringing Pilot Point home games, superior to the Ram Nation.
I'll go that far. I'll say PilotPoint.com is running a better live stream program than SNS was.
Okay. 2 wins on the day then.
Yes.
Okay. So 66-53 win. The game did not feel like it was that close. They kind of hung around, but they hung around between being down by 13 and being down by 18 almost all game long. And the boys played really well, and we have one that played really, really well. He'll pull off the trifecta for this game. Coach Price did an exceptional job of mixing up defenses and kind of kept SNS on their toes, which led to a lot of points in transition for us. And Avery Smith shot the ball exceptionally well, so we'll go ahead and talk about the leading scorers. Avery Smith dropped 34 points.
Wow.
So go Avery. Rowdy Robinson and Dylan Gann each contributed 7 points each. Jay Cox was the leading rebounder with 12. Aiden second with 7. Avery with 6 rebounds. And then this is the one that, 34 points is nice. Avery had 9 steals. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And then Ish, he had 1 block, and it was a pretty impressive chase down block on a fast break layup that he hit that thing off the backboard pretty hard.
Thing that stands out to me about SNS, and this is the Bearcat basketball show I know, but last year I think we hung 100 on SNS, so they must have improved quite a bit.
They returned all 5 starters.
Yeah, that helps.
That helps, and we were concerned going in because we hadn't seen or heard much about them, but we knew they had everybody back.
Yeah.
And so, and they played well.
Yeah.
They had stretches where they played well, and they're definitely improved. I think Coach Gilly up at SNS is doing a good job. And that's evidence, like you said, the gap closed.
Yeah.
But Avery had a well of a game with 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 steals. And people look at that 34 points, they're probably sitting there saying, "Gosh, how in the world can he shoot the ball that many times and this and that?" He was on fire. I felt like almost every time that he let the ball go, it was probably going to go in. And so his field goal percentage was just under 56%. He shot 12 of 26, 7 of 11 from 2-point land, and then he went 5 for 15 from 3-point land. And they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, he shot 15 3-pointers." He shot 15 open 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And so, it's one of those things where, it was just an Avery game. And he played well, and the 9 steals gave him buckets in transition, which is kind of what you're going for. So I thought he played really well, and we just need Avery to keep really just keep getting after it, because you go through all that. We had our best output of the year as far as turnovers. We only had, doing math in my head right now, you have to forgive me. We only had 8 turnovers, which is our season low. So, pretty good job by the old Cats.
Sounds like it.
Now, the final segment that we have, our Player of the Week, whenever we get done with this last commercial break.
Since 1983, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency has been covering the insurance needs of Pilot Point. Regardless of what that need may be, they have you covered, offering homeowners, auto, life, farm and ranch, and commercial. Give them a call at 940-686-2692. That's Germania Insurance, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency, located just north of the town square at 211 Scott Lane in Pilot Point, Texas. Scott Walker Insurance Agency, always there to help.
We want to wish our varsity cheerleader, Abby, a great senior year. Love Mom, Dad, and Michael.
Pelzel Barbershop and Salon and Southern Junkies has been home of the Bearcats since 1973. Whether you are looking for a classic crew cut or the perfect game day outfit, we have you covered. We carry a few fan favorite brands including Hey Dude Shoes, Judy Blue Jeans, D Supply Clothing, and Orleans Candle Company. Come check us out on the north side of the square in downtown Paula Point or online at www.southernjunkies.com, and that is junkies with a Z. And don't forget, go Bearcats!
All right, so we're back. So, in our first basketball podcast, we talked about that we needed a title sponsor and that we needed a Player of the Week, an Impact Player sponsor. We are still looking for that title sponsor, and
Yes, so
it is generously priced.
It is.
And so,
For instance, we'll pick on Wile E. Coyote's preferred company of Acme.
Yeah.
If you were Acme catch-all company that Wiley used and you want this to be the Acme Pilot Point basketball show, then reach out.
yeah, no, we can do that. It can be whatever you want it to be.
That's right.
Well, within reason.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, our football broadcasting, we hit 30,000 people. We're not going to hit 30,000 with basketball. It's not looking like right now. But the numbers have grown with every game.
And basketball is different people from a marketing standpoint.
And so I do believe that we're going to have a successful broadcast. I think, like I said, more and more people are going to, kind of chime in and watch and things like that. But not only do you get to sponsor the basketball broadcast, there's also, you're on the podcast. And we are at about almost 5,000 listens, I do believe, the last
I
time.
have to look that up.
Yeah, but we're over 4,000, I know for sure.
It's hard to put a solid number because the podcast, if you listen to podcast only, those numbers don't translate into people that prefer to listen to it on YouTube. It would take a sharp pencil, pad, and a calculator to give the real
And I have none of those available. So
or the desire.
no, but thing is for the price that we're asking,
A whole lot of people will hear it in
And
your target audience if it's Pilot Point.
and it will be cheap. I don't know if there's cheaper advertisement around.
If there's one thing that can be said about you and I, we're cheap.
We are cheap.
Yes, the
So-
football, for instance, the 30,000 people that listened, if you take our highest level of advertising in football, it translated out to around a penny per listen is what people paid.
Yeah, and that's exceptional as far as advertising goes.
From a guy that spends a lot of money on advertising, that is exceptional.
Yeah. So they're out there. We digress. Y'all got to listen to a business discussion on our way
A Bearcat Insider commercial
to
broke
the. Yes, we're our own sponsors.
That's right.
If we can't sell ourselves,
What can we
what
sell?
can I agree. All right, so our Player of the Week Impact Player is brought to you by Caleb Marsh.
Thank you, Caleb Marsh.
And when we got off the phone with him before this podcast, we said, "What exactly are we hawking here?" And he said,
His Christmas wishes.
"His Christmas wishes." So
This is the Caleb Marsh. Is it the Man of the Week? The Player of the
Impact
Week?
Player
Okay, this is the Caleb Marsh Impact Player of the Week. Merry Christmas
edition.
to all sponsorship.
Yep. So happy holidays from Philly. Caleb, I know you will listen to this as soon as you get the notification. And so we miss you. We wish you were in Texas so we could see you, but we love you.
And we are flexible.
yeah.
Next week, it might be the Caleb Marsh Player of the Game New Year's wishes.
Yeah. Or it could be the Caleb Marsh Baylor is better than Texas Impact Player.
That would be a very poor message. But yes,
I'm just saying.
he's the sponsor.
He's the sponsor.
It's his
It's
call.
whatever he wants to do.
I won't read that message, but
I will.
I'll let you deliver
I will
it. Yes.
gladly read it.
Yes.
All right, so anyways, our impact player, we're going to have 2 of them for this 3-game slate. And whenever I was looking at the numbers and this and that, one of the first numbers that always sticks out to me is plus minus, because I think that's the true measure of how the game flows whenever that player is in the game. And so our plus minus leader, when you take all 3 of these games and you put them together, is Jay Cox. And Jay makes such an impact defensively, and he makes such an impact in the rebounding game. He's extremely active, plays a ton of minutes for us. And so Jay Cox, you are the first impact player of the Week 2 season here. Now, second one, Avery Smith averaged 20 points per game over these 3 games. It is hard to win basketball games if you don't score.
It becomes difficult.
It becomes very difficult. And Avery does such a good job for us, and he did a great job in these past 3 games of scoring. He made an appearance on the rebounding charts. He, his 9 steals. He was a key component in going 2-1 this past week. And so Avery Smith and Jay Cox, co-impact players of the week.
Co-impact Caleb Marsh. Merry Christmas to all.
Yes.
Impact players
And
of the week.
that follows up unsponsored Rowdy Robinson, who was from week 1. And so to stick with that theme, I think Bearcat basketball, I think we're kind of on the rise right now. And I feel good about it.
What's on the horizon? And then explain to us this UIL shutdown.
So the Uil Dead Period happens every year. Now all of a sudden it's getting so much more press because of COVID, but it happens every year. We shut down the gym, the facilities, statewide, across the board, everywhere, for 5 consecutive days, usually from the Sunday before Christmas all the way till after Christmas. It just depends. This year it's from, I do believe, the 22nd to the 28th or something like that. Bearcat basketball will resume December 29th, I do believe, with a road trip to Maypearl. And then we'll come back on Saturday, January 2nd, and have, I think it's Saturday.
Maypearl, that is a road trip.
Yeah, going to the previous home of Jerry Jones.
Correct. He started the football program there.
Well, I hope it doesn't translate to basketball success in 2020.
There you go.
But January 2nd, we'll be back home versus the Boyd Yellow Jackets for our 3rd district ball game.
Subscribe on YouTube, and you'll get a notification when we go live.
Yep, and so the next time you'll hear from us will probably be January 5th, January 4th, somewhere around there. So to all of our listeners, man, Merry Christmas. We sure appreciate the listens and the downloads and all of the support and feedback that we get back from you guys. And, we're just going to try to keep this train on rolling.
And thank you, Caleb Marsh, player of the
Impact
Player.
Come on, man.
Sponsor. We'll have it together.
Sorry, folks. It's amateur hour, apparently.
I wasn't expecting an individual sponsor, so it's thrown me off a little bit.
Back to the true professional.
That's right.
We'd like to thank our gracious sponsors that make this podcast possible. Southern Junkies, Pelzel Printing, Pilot Point Post Signal, Ashley Marsh Photography, Daniel Walker with Germania Insurance, and last but not least, Chandler Cabinets. Without the gracious support of those sponsors, we could not bring this show to you. And so support those local sponsors by going out and supporting local business just like they support us. And as always, go Bearcats.
Ho, ho, ho.